Hello everyone, welcome back to the Guilty Pleasure Cinema, celebrating the movies you're embarrassed to love. This is the original adaptation of Hitman. A stealth assassin designed from birth to be the ultimate infiltrator and an amazingly adaptive killer. I mean, he's literally good with anything from this to this. Gets caught up in an international incident, for lack of a better term. Things go south, and he has to do protection work. It's a video game adaptation, which should be relatively easy to do considering it's about an assassin and a hitman. There's been multiple movies with this title. Assassins, snipers, you name it. These things should be easy. It wasn't. Part of it was because they probably thought it was easy. See, it's a concept that we get all the time in movies. We have a video game franchise, like Hitman. We have here many Hitmans. Hitmans. We have Hitman 2, Silent Assassin. We have Hitman, Contracts. And we have Hitman, Blood Money. And then we also have Hitman, Absolution. You can tell I like these things. What's the problem? Well, the problem is the Hitman franchise is all about being creative and adaptive and killing people in other ways. There are some missions where you can go in guns blazing and just kill everything. It's tricky, it's hard, but satisfying all the while. There's one mission, though. There's many, don't get me wrong, but there's one I remember specifically that I went in having to kill a guy in his house. I walked in, knocked out the chef, put some poison in the sushi, walked away, and sat down to watch. And then I got a report that he died from poisoned food. Mission accomplished. Not a single person was killed, not a single alarm was raised, not a single bullet was fired. That should make an easy thing for a movie, and yet that's kind of common, right? That stuff's normal. That's the problem. It Punishered in that we have a concept of a video game that is balls to the wall, and yet the movie just does what it is, which audiences have seen over and over and over and over, and there was nothing new involved. Nothing stood out in the crowded market, and yet look at that visual. That's a good thing. Like they got it right. And yet, video games just have that stigma. They should be easily adapted, really. I mean, think of it this way. Superhero movies are all the rage and have been for about a decade, but there was a time when they were poison. They would assassinate you like tainted sushi. Video games still are that. Superhero movies were that up until 1998's Blade. Basically anything that wasn't 1978's Superman or 1989's Batman was trash. And even after Blade, you basically have it, Spider-Man, and the original X-Men, and X2. But everything else people hated. Now, we've gone on record about how that stuff isn't all trash. Fantastic Four notwithstanding. But video games should be just as easy to pull off, and yet are just as regularly screwed up. The biggest atrocity of this is not embracing what it is. We start out with our hitman being a hitman. It's called that. And then he doesn't get to be a hitman. No, he has to protect a woman to keep her alive. It literally electrode. Let's show someone be awesome and then not do that for the rest of the movie. Now, Timothy Olyphant, the bad guy from Live Free or Die Hard, is great. Because in that movie, he was this cocky, confident, calculating, ruthless prick who didn't really care. And yet did with the right emotion when it was needed. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's him. That's Agent 47. The movie itself looks great. And the action is really kind of tame, but well done. It just doesn't embrace what it is like it should. And it's just sad that it's such a missed opportunity. It's a case of a movie that might have been more successful under a different name, because the people who are fans of Hitman would go into this not getting what they expect, and yet the people who aren't fans are going to go, oh, what's that, some video game movie? It's not servicing either party. It's flawed. Big time. Even I won't deny that. I like to focus on the positives, and it's a hard one with this one. That's 2 in a row. And it's not worthy of the name, which is really the biggest knock against it. It's worth watching and would have been more successful under a different name, but it's trying to be something that it isn't. And it doesn't stand out from the pack at all. Now, they changed that with the new one in 2015, the Agent 47 non-sequel, non-remake, just let's try again. And they got things right in that one, and it's different for its own thing, but I completely recommend this. Just know what you're getting into. It's decent in its own ways, but really misguided into what it is, or should be. You shouldn't feel guilty about it if it's a movie you love.